All right, so after the poll, it looks like we're going to be called seekers, you guys. So, hey, seekers. I do like that. Somebody had mentioned truth seekers, but I wanted it to be a single word, not two words. So, you are now seekers. Now, it's going to be a shorter video again today. I'm finishing up the studio, and then I'm trying to get on the road tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. So, this will be really quick, but I just wanted to talk really quick about Joe Biden's family going to Camp David to talk about Biden, whether he's going to stay in the race, etc. So I'm going to read an article. Now, the article that I'm reading is from CNN. I know, but when you have the situation that's going on right now, CNN clearly is not in the bag for Biden anymore. That is obvious. So I'm using that article because, I feel like right now they are being extra critical of Biden. So I feel like for the first time, maybe we'll get some good reporting. Um, take that with a grain of salt, but I'm going through this article really quick. Joe Biden's family on Sunday encouraged the president to stay in the 2024 race and privately discussed whether top aides should be fired on the heels of Biden's stunningly poor debate performance, which has thrown his campaign into turmoil. Now, the fact that the family is saying that top aides should be fired for his performance, what could you have done to make that performance any better? Like, what could you actually have done to make Biden's performance any better aside from have it not be Biden? Like, that is his brain. Like, I don't think there's any amount of preparation they could have done in order to make it any different than it was. Like, what could they have done? They said they took him and had him practice standing up. They probably and from what I understand, he got the questions ahead of time where Trump did not. So he had the questions ahead of time potentially. Now that's not confirmed, but it makes sense. Unless this really was a political hit job, which it feels like to me. Whereas maybe they didn't give him the questions ahead of time, but maybe they did to give him every chance to do a good job. But the fact that they're saying top aides should be fired for that performance, no. Biden should be fired for that performance. Biden should be fired. He should be let go. The dude clearly has dementia, and his family is encouraging him to stay in the race, which again is elder abuse. That's elder abuse. And, the man is not there anymore. So this is either Jill Biden, like trying to hold on to her power because maybe she's pulling the strings from behind. What president was it that happened to? Was it Roosevelt? Which president did the first lady do a lot of things because the president was ill? I can't remember if that was Roosevelt or what. Let me know in the comments if you guys remember which president that was. But there was a president that happened. The first lady was doing all the work while her husband was ill. Biden's family, including First Lady Jill Biden, son Hunter Biden, and their grandchildren, convened at Camp David for a previously scheduled get together and implored the president to keep fighting in his bid for re-election. Biden advisors told CNN. One advisor described the family members as having offered their unequivocal support to Biden. Like, you're going to bring Hunter Biden in on that? Like, really? Like, Dad, just do a bunch of cocaine. Just do cocaine and you'll be fine. The family, clearly frustrated with the team that prepared President Biden ahead of the alarming debate with former President Donald Trump, discussed whether any of Biden's top advisors should be fired and whether campaign staffing changes should be made, one advisor said. So they're going to spin this as this wasn't Biden's fault. Like, no amount of preparation would have made that any different. And so now is this going to be the scapegoat? It was just because he was nervous or whatever. He was just off that night. The aides didn't prep him well enough. Like, bullshit. Come on. Biden, however, is known for being loyal to and protective of his close advisors and does not like to fire aides. As of Sunday, it did not appear that any major staffing changes were looming, and like he even knows who they are at this point. The administration and support that Biden's family showed the president Sunday mirrored the First Lady's effusive public praise for her husband in recent days. She told Vogue on Sunday that the family will not let those 90 minutes define the 4 years he's been president and vowed to continue the fight. Like, these 4 years that he's been president, like, he's not doing anything. We know that now. Like, it's completely obvious from that debate stage and from previously. We've known that, like, he was a basement um, campaigner. Like, all he did was stay out of the public eye as much as possible to win the election. And dare I say, to steal the election. He didn't campaign then. We all knew it coming into this. We all knew this way before this. Like, this should have never happened. He should have never been made president. The family gathering at the presidential retreat came as Biden and his campaign are confronting an avalanche of calls for the president to drop out after Thursday's CNN presidential debate. The discussions also focused on how members of the Biden clan could help the president and not whether he should reconsider his candidacy, one of the advisors said. Biden is eagerly collecting data, anecdotal evidence, and public polling, but is awaiting a broader round of Democratic campaign polling and research this week, advisors said, bracing for expected slippage of support across battleground states. Advisors preemptively blame tough media coverage for any downfall rather than Biden's own performance. Tough media coverage. You mean they're actually doing their job for once? Tough media coverage equals, yeah, we're asking the right questions now. Like, that's not tough. It's what they should be doing. It's what journalists, like, every single interview that's done with a politician, they should walk away being like, wow, that was a tough interview. They should always be facing tough interviews every single time. So the fact that, like, now it's like, we're blaming tough media coverage. No, you're blaming real media coverage the way media should be. The shock of the CNN debate is still settling in for many, with the president and those close to him in the earliest stages of processing the immediate fallout. The family's view that Biden must keep fighting could shift in the coming days if the downward spiral continues and if the president becomes convinced that exiting the race would avoid dragging down Democrats this fall. You know, I still feel like they're still playing a game. You know, it's like, hey, we got to make the Bidens look tough. He's got to look like a tough guy. You know, he can't just bow out and be like, okay, I'm going to go. They got to drag this out to make it look like, you know, yeah, we're going to replace Biden, but he didn't go down without a fight. You know, he really fought hard, but, you know, he just can't do it. The opinion of Biden's family would be crucial in determining his political future, even more so than the president's famously insular inner circle of top advisors. Those advisors are now under great scrutiny, with party insiders openly questioning how they allowed the president to take the stage last week to face off against Donald Trump, knowing what they must have known. The Biden team had spent nearly a full week hunkered down at Camp David trying to prepare the president for any scenario that he might confront inside the CNN studio in Atlanta. Biden and his family convened Sunday for a long-planned photo shoot with renowned photographer Annie Leibovitz. Senior advisors had insisted to CNN on Saturday that the gathering was not aimed at discussing whether the president would remain in the race. I've seen other things, but that's possible that never was the case. You know, people tend to jump to conclusions on stuff. So I guess we can take that with a grain of salt. Angst towards some of Biden's key staff members has started to spill out into public view. Florida Attorney John Morgan, one of the Democratic Party's most prolific and prominent donors, singled out senior advisor Anita Dunn and her husband Bob Bauer, who is Biden's personal attorney. Quote, Biden has too long been fooled by the value of Anita Dunn and her husband. They need to go. Today, Morgan wrote on X on Sunday. The White House declined to comment on Morgan's post. Okay, so let's get rid of the advisors. Let's get rid of the advisors, the people that are advising Biden, because that's the problem. The problem is they're telling Biden, they're not helping Biden prepare for the debate because, you know, they didn't ask him the right questions. They didn't prepare him. This is the advisor's fault. Can you believe that? No, this is not the advisor's fault. This is because Biden's brain is oatmeal at this point. It's oatmeal. Like, the guy needs to be, like I said in yesterday's video, they just need to let him go. Let him go live out his life. You know, a lot of you are saying he should still pay for his crimes. Look, I think he's a warmongering criminal. I think he has been a habitual liar for 40 years. He is a career politician that has not accomplished anything, and I do not like the man. But when you think about Alzheimer's, you're punishing it. Think about this. When you get Alzheimer's, you regress almost to a childlike state, okay? Hence the ice cream and the looking excited when things are happening, and he just looks like he looks like a child sometimes. So you have to think you're not punishing the man at that point. You might be punishing his physical body, his physical form, and maybe that would give you some pleasure and some relief, but you're not punishing Biden at this point. You are not punishing Joe Biden. And to basically put a child in prison that is going to have no idea why they're there, no idea what they've done, my thing would be, no, go after the family that got the Bidens where they are. How did they become such like millionaires? Go after that. Go after the deals that Hunter Biden made. Go after the money and smear the Biden name maybe, but not the man, because the man is no longer there. So you can still have results in going after that and punishing that, but not the man, going to prison or anything, because first of all, that's not going to happen in America, a president going to prison. But go after, like I said, the countries that sent Biden Hunter money, and still tie all of it to it, tie all of that to Biden. The crimes could still be tied to Biden, and so you could basically smear the Biden name and make the Biden name historically a bad name, right? Rather than going after a man who has no idea. That would be what I would recommend. So, because like I said, I've seen personally, my grandmother had Alzheimer's, and she just reverted basically to a child. And they have two different kinds. Like, there are people that get Alzheimer's and become mean, and some that become just happy. They're just happy in their world. They don't know where they're at or anything. They're just living their life and they're happy. And that was my grandma. And I don't know that that's Biden. He seems like he can get a little bit irritated. So he might be the grumpy version, happy most of the time, but grumpy sometimes. So we don't know. But anyway, you guys, I do think he's going to have to be replaced. I don't think there's any way around it. I think this is just kicking the can down the road. I think it's laughable, but that the family is still putting him out there and that they're blaming the advisors. We all know it's not the advisors. This is a CNN article, and I think they could have been a little bit more like, yeah, it's not like, let's blame the advisors. Biden's performance was Biden's oatmeal brain at work. So, bottom line. All right, I need to get going because I got calls coming in and everything, because I got to get this studio done today so I can get on the road. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you for subscribing and watching. Make sure you're still subscribed. I've got a lot of people already messaging me, hey, I had to resubscribe to your channel. And I see it in the numbers. They keep dropping. Like, I'll get up close to a certain number and then they drop back down. So YouTube is doing their thing. But I will say that even channels that aren't controversial deal with that. So it's not just channels like mine and Redacted. It's other channels as well. So thank you guys so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.